again. Welcome to class 396. Okay, I want to try to finish today the story about Nancy Johnson from yesterday. Nancy Johnson, Eddie Campbell, George Clooney, and Nancy's husband, Philip. The family, Nancy's mother and sister who live in Coffeyville, Kansas. Do you remember? Okay, one reading. Nancy Johnson has a problem. If she had problems like this one every day, she and her family would be rich by now. Her problem is that she's been offered a job to decorate the home of George Clooney, Her problem is that she's been offered a job to decorate the home that George Clooney owns in Aspen, Colorado, the most famous ski resort in the United States. It would mean spending at least 1 week out of every month in Aspen. This evening, she will discuss the problem with her husband, Philip, and then call Eddie Campbell to let him know her final decision. Eddie is a famous interior decorator and the most prestigious professor of interior design in California. He teaches at UCLA, which stands for the University of California at Los Angeles. He and his students often help the Hollywood rich to decorate their homes in Beverly Hills and Malibu Beach. He knows Nancy Johnson very well because they studied interior design together at the University of Kansas. Eddie and his students decorated George Clooney's home in Beverly Hills 7 years ago. Last week, Mr. Clooney called Eddie, asking him to decorate his new home in Colorado. Since Eddie couldn't do it, he told Mr. Clooney he had the perfect person for the job. Now Nancy has to make a decision. Her sister and mother live in Coffeyville, Kansas. Her sister is single. If they could come up to Lincoln from time to time to stay with the kids, then maybe Nancy could have time to go to Colorado and do the job. Also, she's sure that the technical school where she works would give her the time off as well. It would mean a lot for the school to have a teacher who's decorating the home of George Clooney. What will Philip say, she thought. All right. So she has a dilemma here. Eddie Campbell, as I said yesterday, is a very well-known interior decorator in Southern California. He's a professor of interior design at UCLA. But more than that is he and his students, he uses his students as volunteers. They decorate homes of the rich and famous in Beverly Hills and Malibu Beach. Now, 7 years ago, Eddie and his students decorated George Clooney's home or house in Beverly Hills. And very recently, George Clooney bought a house in Aspen, Colorado. As I said yesterday, Aspen is the most famous ski resort in the United States. It's very expensive. It's full of rich people who go there to ski in the winter in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. Now, Nancy lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. To drive from Lincoln, Nebraska to Aspen, Colorado, 13 hours, 14 hours, it's pretty far. It's a long drive. It's like driving from Madrid to Paris in France. It's a long drive. And besides, the last part of the drive is in the mountains. And so if she says yes, well, the problem was that Eddie Campbell wasn't able, or isn't able, vamos en el presente. Eddie Campbell isn't able to help George Clooney this time. He's too busy. He can't go to Colorado to decorate George's new house. However, he said, George, they spoke on the telephone, says, I know the perfect person. I know the perfect person for you who can decorate your house. He says, well, who's that? Nancy Johnson. She lives in Nebraska. She was a classmate of mine at the University of Kansas, and she's very good. And I'm sure she can go to Colorado and do the job and do it well. Well, Eddie, okay, yeah, sure. Well, let me know. Talk to her, and we can meet. Just let me know. And so Eddie called Nancy. He said, hey, Nancy. He said, Eddie, wow, long time no see. Long time no see es una frase hecha en inglés. Tiempo largo, largo tiempo no ver, en plan indio. Long time, comma, no see. It's a very common expression. We say, wow, mucho tiempo que no te veo. Mucho tiempo hace. Long time no see. I said, wow, Eddie, long time no see. How's everything? What are you up to? What are you up to means, ¿en qué cosa estás metido ahora? What have you been doing? Oh, the same as usual, Nancy. Just teaching at the university and decorating homes. But listen, Nancy, I'm calling for a really interesting reason. For a reason. I have a client for you. Oh, great. A client for me. Where? Here in Nebraska? No. In Aspen, Colorado. Oh, but Eddie, Aspen, Colorado is too far away. I can't go to Aspen, Colorado. Well, the client is very special. Well, who is it? George Clooney. What do you mean? George Clooney has just bought one of those old homes in Aspen, built 120 years ago. And he wants to remodel it. He needs to remodel it. Remodelar. Reformar la casa. To remodel, remodelar. He wants to remodel it. Oh, and he wants me to do the job. However, Nancy, I can't. And I recommended you. Ahora, el you aquí es complemento directo. Te recomendé a él. I recommended you to him. But Eddie, I mean, I live in Nebraska. I don't know how long. What is it, 15 hours by car? I suppose I could fly. I mean, there are flights from Lincoln to Denver, and from Denver I can rent a car and drive up. Yeah. But Nancy, this is worth $250,000. Sorry? $250,000. But have you seen the house, Eddie? Well, I've seen pictures of the house. I've seen photographs. I can send them to you. But it's $250,000. Mr. George Clooney will pay you to remodel his house, the interior decoration. Wow. Does it need a lot of work? Well, it's an old house, and it's been empty for 10 years. George Clooney, but you'd have to be there. Yeah, but Eddie, I have 2 kids. You remember Michael and Denise. Michael's 15 now. He just turned 15. Acaba de cumplir los 15 años, Michael Johnson. He's just turned 15 and Denise is 11. I don't know how I'm going to find time. Well, listen, this is the opportunity of your life. It's very prestigious and it's a lot of money. Okay, Eddie, well, yeah, sure, but it sounds really, really interesting. Listen, let me talk to my husband. Let me talk to Philip this evening. Deje que hable con mi marido. Let me talk to my husband this evening, and I'll get back to you. And I'll get back to you tomorrow morning at the latest. I'll get back to you tomorrow midday at the latest. I'll get back to you midday at the latest. I'll get back to you. Me pondré de nuevo en contacto contigo como más tarde mañana a mediodía. I'll get back to you tomorrow midday at the latest. A más tardar. At the latest. I'll let you know. My God, thank you, Eddie. I'm honored for this offer, but my God, it would mean a complete change in my life. How long do you think it would take to decorate the home? How long do you think it would take? I don't know. Looking at the photographs, looking at the pictures, I think maybe 8 or 9 months of remodeling work. It's a big job. But remember, Nancy, it's $250,000. And it's George Clooney. It's Aspen, Colorado. Wow. It would change your status immensely. Okay, Eddie, yeah, I got it. I understand, Eddie, I understand. Okay, fine. All right, I'll talk to Philip this evening about it and get back to you tomorrow, okay? And thanks a million for the offer. This is, what a surprise. Wow. All right, take care now. We'll talk tomorrow, okay? All right, bye-bye. All right, so Nancy Johnson has just been offered the opportunity to decorate George Clooney's new house in Aspen, Colorado. It would require about 8 or 9 months of work. Probably Nancy would go only 1 week per month. She's thinking about it. Now she's thinking about it. She said, okay, I can go. And at the beginning, 2 or 3 weeks, I need to stay in Aspen to start everything, to subcontract the necessary people and companies. And they can start doing the work, and I can go back 1 week out of every month. 1 week, una semana de cada mes. Fíjate cómo lo acabo de decir. 1 week out of, como si una semana saliendo de los 4 del mes. 1 week out of every month. También podemos quitar el out. 1 week of every month. También es correcto. Pero se oye más 1 week out of every month. She would need to go to Denver. Well, she would need to go to Aspen. Now, to go to Aspen by car is not realistic. En inglés se dice realístico, no se dice realista. Yo soy un realista. I am a realist. Soy una persona realista. I'm a realistic person. So to drive to Aspen is not realistic. It's about 15 hours. It's exhausting. So she would take a plane. She would take a plane from Lincoln to Denver, rent a car in Denver, and then drive from the Denver airport up. It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's from. I've been in Denver. I've been to Denver many times. My sister lives in Denver, so I know that area very well, and the Rocky Mountains in that area. So it's about a 2.5 hour drive. It's a good drive, eh? It's in the middle of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, Aspen. And so she's thinking about, but the kids, my God, Michael is 15. Michael's very independent already, but Denise is only 11. And her husband, Philip, he's very busy with the bank. Said, yeah, but my mother and sister could come up. Come up means subiendo de sur al norte. Por eso se dice up. El up sobra. Podría decir my sister and mother can come to Lincoln. But because it's moving north, we often say come up. Come up. It's interesting, for example, if I talk to my friend in Santander, he will say, come down to Santander. I said, come down? It's because it's coming down in altitude. It's coming down, okay. But in the map, it's come up to Santander. So her mother and sister can drive up to Lincoln 1 week out of every month and stay with the kids. and look after the kids, take care of the house. Look after the kids, take care of the house. Cuidar a los niños, cuidar la casa. And so Philip can continue with a normal life. That's 1 week out of every month. Although the first month, probably 2 or 3 weeks to get everything off the ground, to get everything started. What do you think? Do you think Nancy, well, by the way, it's €250,000. Excuse me, $250,000. $250,000, that's 210,000 euros. No está mal, eh? You would take the job. Would you take the job? Yeah, sin pestañear. She said, in a blink of an eye, she would take the job. But Marta isn't an interior decorator, so she can't do it. But Nancy, what would you do? Would you take the job? All right, with George Clooney. Nancy Johnson has a problem. Pobrecita. Poor little girl. Poor Nancy. She has a problem. Si tuviera problemas como este cada día, estaría montada el dólar, ¿a que sí? If she had problems like this one every day, she and her family would be rich by now. Para ahora ya serían ricos. By now. Her problem is that she's been offered a job. Voz pasiva. Ella ha sido ofrecida. Okay, o ella se ha sido ofrecido un trabajo. O sea, se le ha ofrecido. She has been offered a job. Contracción, she's been offered. The problem is, she's been offered a job to decorate the home that George Clooney owns. Tienen propiedad, to own, in Aspen, Colorado. She's been offered a job to decorate the home that George Clooney owns in Aspen, Colorado. The most famous ski resort in the United States. It would mean, significaría esto, it would mean spending at least 1 week out of every month in Aspen. At least 1 week, maybe 2. Yeah, it's a problem. Well, it's not a problem, it's an opportunity, of course. What will Philip say? And with George Clooney. Of course, George Clooney lives in Los Angeles or in Italy. He doesn't. He goes to Aspen. He will in the future go to Aspen, only from time to time. However, at the beginning, he and Nancy will need to spend a few days there, examining the house, checking and making decisions on decorations and design plans and everything. And then George Clooney will come back maybe once every 2 months. So probably they will spend quite a bit of time together. Probably they will spend quite a bit of time together. Bastante tiempo. Bastante significa enough. Ya tengo bastante. O sea, ya tengo suficiente. Eso es enough. Bastante como suficiente es enough. ¿Tienes bastantes lápices? Yeah, do you have enough pencils? Yes, I have enough pencils. Tienes bastantes lápices. Wow. Eso es diferente. You have quite a few. Más de lo que pensé. Muchos no, pero bastantes sí. Quite a few. You have quite a few pencils. Pencils is plural, contable. Quite a few. Yes. Quite a few. Pero time, no es contable. Las horas sí, minutos sí son contables, pero el tiempo no. No puedo decir, yo tengo 3 tiempos para ti. No. So, quite a bit of time. Not quite a few pencils, quite a bit of time. Cuando hay sustantivo después de bastante, bastante tiempo, bastantes lápices. Quite a bit, quite a few, quite a bit, or quite a lot. Quite a lot valen para los dos. Es universal. Quite a lot of pencils, quite a lot of time. Pero se dice más quite a bit, and quite a few. All right, so this evening, Nancy will discuss the problem with her husband, Philip. and then call Eddie to let him know her final decision. In my previous conversation, I said tomorrow morning, tomorrow by midday at the latest. But no, it says here, she'll call Eddie this evening after talking to her husband, Philip. What do you think Philip will say? Do you think, oh, wow. Well, first of all, George Clooney's very handsome. Is Philip a jealous man? I don't know. Jealous, un hombre celoso. Is Philip a jealous man? I don't know. $250,000 is a lot of money. Philip's salary is not even close. Ni se acerca. It's not even close to and Nancy's earnings. Nancy has two sources of income. Nancy earns a normal fee for what she does at the university. And then in the afternoons and evenings, she works as a freelance decorator. But between Nancy and Philip, they don't make even half of the money Nancy can make decorating George Clooney's house. So, it's a very important financial moment for the family. All right. This evening she will discuss the problem. Discutir el problema, pero no argue. Argue is discutir acaloradamente. This evening she will discuss the problem with her husband, Philip, and then call Eddie Campbell to let him know, para informarle. Se dice, infórmame, o sea, házmelo saber, let me know, let me know. Let me know, para avisarle, let me know. So this evening she'll call, after speaking to Philip, she'll call Eddie to let him know her final decision. It's the final countdown. Eddie Campbell is a famous interior decorator and the most prestigious professor, prestigio, prestigious, and the most prestigious professor of interior design, diseño de interiores, interior design in California. He teaches, enseña, at UCLA, UCLA, UCLA. En inglés no decimos UCLA. We say UCLA, 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 que también suena igual que tú ves Los Ángeles, UCLA, LA, UCLA, UCLA, which stands for means significa cuando son siglas, which stands for the University of California at Los Angeles. All right, Eddie and his students often help the Hollywood rich to decorate their homes in Beverly Hills and Malibu Beach. Those are two of the richest areas of greater Los Angeles. Beverly Hills and Malibu Beach. He knows Nancy Johnson very well because they were classmates. Yes, at the University of Kansas. Eddie is originally from Salina, Kansas. Where? Eddie Campbell is originally from Salina, Kansas. Salina. Sí, escrito Salina. Hay salinas ahí, de sal. Pero se dice Salina, Kansas. And he went to the University of Kansas. Nancy's originally from Coffeyville in the South, and she went to the University of Kansas. They met on the campus of the university, and they spent 4 years together as classmates, studying interior decoration, interior design. The official degree, la titulación oficial se dice diseño de interiores, interior design. And then when they finished, Nancy got a decoration job in Lincoln, Nebraska. And there she met her husband, her future husband, Philip. Later, 2 years later, they got married. All right. Nancy's 39 years old. No, she's 38. Philip is 39. Yeah, Nancy's 38. All right. But now Nancy has an opportunity. What do you think? What would you do to go to Aspen, Colorado once a month, to spend 1 week or a little more. Because to go, you need to go to the Lincoln Airport, which is relatively small. It's a small airport, but it has a service between Lincoln and Denver. To fly to Denver is an hour and a half. It's not very far. It's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Check. That's your homework for tomorrow. Flights from Lincoln to Denver. I think it's an hour. I would guess an hour and 45 minutes. All right. But it depends on the kind of plane. If it's a jet Rector, it's faster. If it's a propeller plane, the hélice, it's probably a little bit long. It takes a little bit longer. But then she has to formalize the car rental and then drive to Aspen. And it's a long drive, 2.5 hours. I'll be back tomorrow.